Welcome to Wake in Focus with the Old Gold and Black. My name is Benjamin Pappas, and today I am interviewing a student athlete whose impact on the field has been hard to miss this year. She's a forward on the women's soccer team who helped contribute to some of Wake's most impressive ACC feats this year, including her team's first appearance in the national championship. Today, we're going to talk about all of those victories and learn what it's like to compete at the highest level of collegiate athletics. So, let's get into focus with Sierra Sythe. Well, I want to ask you first because your fall season this year was obviously record-breaking, and I want to know specifically, there were so many shining moments, but one of those was when you played Stanford in September and you beat them. They were the number one ranked team. Tell me about the immediate aftermath right after that. Like, what was the energy like?
It was insane. I was actually just talking to my teammates about this the other day, and we were saying that it was crazy that we had to go to school the next day because the adrenaline was like up here. I mean, we finished the game, and I don't know if you've seen like the pictures from like that we posted after it of like the win, but we were all in a huddle just like cheering with each other. And I think so many people just had their friends and family there that like at that night or after that, we just like had an amazing time as a team. And it was kind of the catalyst, I think, for a chain of really good games that followed because, well, we'd had Virginia right before that. They were number 2. Then we had Stanford number 1, beat them. Then we had Florida State. And we kind of just rode that high through the rest of ACC conference play.
Yeah, and at the Virginia game, I think you had your first ACC career goal
I
at that.
did.
What was that like? Like, right after that happened, like, what was going through your head?
It was surreal because, well, I'd always been a winger before this season, and then I was converted to an outside back, and I wasn't really expecting, to get many scoring opportunities. Obviously, the goal of our team is to get our outside backs high and wide, get them up in the attack. But when Zara served that ball, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually in the box for once. And the ball just kind of went perfectly to my foot, and I was able to volley it in. And I got kind of emotional. I don't know if I really showed it, but just like coming back from an ACL injury and then being able to score was really awesome for me.
That's right, because you weren't able to play it all your first year, and so then you really came in with it. You came in with a splash, like this first season. This is an incredible time.
Yeah, it was a crazy season to enter, but also, you're right, like one of the best because our team was really at its peak then, just in terms of like that senior class had been developed for their 4 years. I mean, they had a really talented class. There were 19 of them at the end, so they'd gone through Tony's leadership and that team. And for 4 years, we were training, we were getting them ready, and then to kind of have all the pieces finally fall into place with that was really awesome, and that was a big reason why we were able to go so far.
Awesome. And you talked about being able to return to school like the following days. What is that like when you're sitting in class and you just like came off this incredible win?
I just wanted to tell people like we just beat Stanford,
Did people like recognize you and congratulate you, or was it mostly chill?
It was mostly chill. I mean, some people who, obviously my close friends or people in my classes who knew that we were playing them said congrats. I think we saw some stuff on Fizz, like, people were shouting us out. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, I think people definitely started to recognize us at that point, and then we got more like traction with people coming to the games. The Duke game, we actually broke a record attendance too, and that was only like 5 or 6 games after, I think. So that was really awesome, and I think people like really started to pay attention after that.
Yeah, I remember seeing all those things on Fizz. That was a unifying moment for the school.
I
Just
know.
so that was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and then looking forward, because you said it sounds like the senior class was really, you think, a really special part of that season. Looking forward, how do you guys plan on sort of keeping that groundedness, that focus, and that sort of like bond?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely something we've talked about since we have such a young team this year. And so few of us were able to kind of get minutes last year and have that experience. So it's really been building on the principles that we had last year and trying to kind of like teach it to the new players. Because last year we came in, we were a well-oiled machine. We all knew what to do. So like practices and games were more of just like getting touches and getting repetition. Now we're focused more on rebuilding, like focusing on the small details so that we can kind of implement it on a bigger scale in the fall, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think you become a different player as you are with different, like as the team grows? Do you act in a different way on the field?
For sure. I mean, Since I was able and fortunate enough to have, playing time last year and get to play in those high pressure games, I've really tried to take a step up and kind of take on more of a leadership role, because I remember as a freshman coming in, like, it was scary, and you're playing in the ACC. It's a high profile conference. It's, kind of stressful. And so I really want to be, that voice for people, like, on the field, because I know what it took last year. And so kind of imparting that wisdom on them so that they feel comfortable enough to step up.
Yeah. Tell me about those sort of strategies that you have when you're in such a high profile, such a high stress environment for maintaining focus and sort of internal calm.
I mean, a big part of it is the mental side. I mean, you think about it, we all know how to play soccer. Everyone who comes onto the team, like, they were recruited for a reason. So that's not necessarily an issue. It's more just being able to manage your nerves. And one way we do that is before every game, the people who are starting, we come into a huddle and we just take a deep breath together. And we say, guys, we know how to play soccer. Remember our principles, kind of say a few key things about what we went over in pregame. And then, we disperse and we're ready and we're locked in for the game. And I think that's just a really big part of it, is reminding people that they are capable and that, we've been prepping for that moment. So you just got to go out and apply it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great mentality to have. You are a sophomore right now, so you're going into your junior year. How do you balance being a player on the field and then also a student in the classroom, especially when you're becoming an upperclassman?
I mean, it's definitely not easy. You have limited time during the day. You have to make sure that you're really, managing everything, because it's not just soccer that we have. We have film, we have, rehab, we have recovery and things like that. So, your time to do work gets narrow and narrower. And I think what does help is that, you kind of translate the mentality from soccer to the mentality for school, where it's like you have to train, you have to practice what you preach, and then be ready to go in and, like, be ready for the game. So, like, applying the same thing to schoolwork, like, studying kind of, is similar in that sense. And I just try to, like, do it when I can, take the times that I do have during the day. And yeah, it's just like, you got to have that same mentality with it.
Yeah. And there are so many components, like you said, that people, like, don't see. It's not just the stuff on the field. It's also all the stuff behind that. So during a fall semester on a given week, how much time are you allocating to all of that stuff? Is that even hard to, like, quantify?
It probably is. I mean, I'm sure we have practice logs somewhere. There is a cutoff for the amount of things we can do. I think it's like 20 hours in the fall, but that's like 20 hours just with, like, the coaches and things like that. So that's, film. That's team film, that's team practices. I think it includes lift, but yeah, I mean, in addition to that, you have team meals, you have travel. I mean, that takes up a long time. We might be gone from Wednesday to Sunday if we're playing a double header somewhere else, like a Syracuse Pitt game. And so, it varies from week to week, but sometimes you're only in school for 2 days. You're just constantly doing things with the team. Yeah, I mean, I think people definitely give athletes a lot of credit, but, like, the things that, all the extra things that you don't really see behind the scenes, it is hard to quantify. And especially when I want to, like, shout out, like, people doing rehab. I mean, they're doing an extra probably 10 hours a week just in there, along with all of the other team things. If you're a captain, like, you're doing more meetings with the coaches. The coaches themselves do a lot. So there's a lot of moving parts to it, and a lot of people that come in to make that happen.
Yeah, that must be a lot of stress put on you guys. What is something else that people might not realize about participating in D1 athletics? This could be something small too. Like, is there just about, like, what's it like on the buses? Like, those small things.
Yeah, no. I guess, yeah, you don't even think about the things because it's so innate, I guess, to what you're doing. But I mean, yeah, like, we're on the buses when I can think of, like, this pinpoint example. After we beat USC, we were in California, we were driving back from the field, and the bus just was insane inside. I mean, we were going to the Final Four, and we had the music blasting, we had even, like, the coaches dancing in there. Like, it was crazy. And then you now have these memories that you can look back on. That's a big thing, is, like, locker rooms, people were always hyped, they were always dancing. We had, like, team rituals before the game, like, we had certain music that we always played. And, you look back and you have all these videos, all these pictures, And I even get kind of like emotional looking back at them because it was such a good time. And, you don't get that back, but it's a reminder of, how it can be when you move forward and like the other good things that can come, because there's always going to be personalities on the team. There's always going to be the fun. And that's another thing that you really have to cling on to, are those good fun moments, because those also get you through when soccer becomes stressful and when, just life takes over.
Yeah. Now, what do you all do over the summer? Because we are approaching sort of the end of the year. Do you guys, what does it look like, the training, maintaining, preparing for the next season?
Well, each individual player, it's a little different because we're encouraged to all play on a summer team. So most people end up going and playing with like a WPSL team, which is it's kind of like a semi-pro league for people, especially who come back in the summer from college. So it's a lot of college athletes playing on the same team. So, everyone kind of goes home and does that. Some people will travel to a different team if it's like a better, competition level. But aside from that, it's really just like staying fit, building up your strength, because we're expected to come in, be super strong, because once you hit the fall, you're just in maintenance mode. You're not going to be lifting PRs when you're playing 2 games a week. So it's about getting strong before then, and then also, just doing your own training and also getting healthy too, because it's really the time to rest as well.
Because you have to jump right into it then in the fall, pretty much.
Yeah, you want to be at like your peak fitness and then kind of just stride it out through the rest of the season, because once you're playing that many games and practicing that much, like, you're gonna maintain your fitness.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to looking up to this next year?
I think I'm just looking forward to seeing how the new personalities shine on the team, and not just like personal personalities, but like soccer personalities. And like I said before, kind of seeing how different players are going to make breakout seasons, how they're going to be able to play, and who's going to step into those roles and really make an impact. And I think the couple freshmen that have come in, and all the people who may have not gotten tons of like time over the past, like, I think there's going to be a lot of people who step up into those roles and elevate our team even more.
Well, I think we're all so excited to see what the team looks like next year. Seeing such success was just a really nice thing, so we're all looking forward to that. And thank you for being here with us today. This was really fun to interview you, and catch our next Wake and Focus videos. We'll see you next time.